So how many languages do you actually speak?
I would say I have like my five ones where I'm like super, very much proficient. Yeah.
5.
German, of course, first, then comes English, then comes Chinese, then comes French, and then comes Spanish.
How long did it take you to learn Mandarin?
6 months.
6 months?
Yep. For me, every language is different. Every language requires a different learning way.
Yes.
For example, you have Mandarin, and I just cut it in 2 parts. Part number 1 is listening and speaking.
Okay.
So for the first 6 months, I did not waste my time learning the Hanzi. I did not waste my time in writing every day like wo, wo,
Yeah.
wo. Do you know how I learned Japanese?
No.
I actually I got my books and I got my CDs and I just imitated how they spoke, but I talked to my dog.
Okay.
Like, "Matte kudasai. Kore wa dame desu ne."
Did your dog speak back to you in Japanese?
No.
Oh, not a magic dog. All right, welcome back again to FUNDAY Chat. We have Michelle with us once more.
Hi.
So, Michelle, again, can you give us a real quick background of who you are, your little story, and then we're going to go right into our topic with languages.
Okay, my name is Michelle. I am living in Taiwan for more than 10 years right now. I'm originally from Germany, and yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, so the first time I met you, we met on the show, right? We do WTO together, and I was just so impressed because I remember like seeing you and I'm like, okay, cool, from Germany. So I was like, okay, she can speak obviously German.
Yeah.
And then the next minute we go on the show, then you're talking to like a Japanese person and you're like speaking in Japanese. And I was like, okay, hold up. Why? How does she speak Japanese? I'm like, all right, cool. Sometimes people learn another language. Then you're like talking to another person and you're like speaking Vietnamese. I'm like, hold up. How many languages do you speak? And I was so like fascinated. And so how many languages do you actually speak?
Oh, okay. I would say I have like my five ones where I'm like super, very much proficient. Yeah.
5. That's okay.
So this
Tell
is
us
like from the German, of course, first, then comes English, then comes Chinese, then comes French, and then comes Spanish.
Wow.
So these ones are like solid.
That's
rock
crazy
solid.
because I feel like with those languages, you can go anywhere in the world already.
Yeah.
Right? Because like honestly, they say English first more commonly spoken, then Mandarin, and then you have Spanish. And I think within these 3 languages, you're pretty much, you can cover.
Good to go, right?
Yeah. And then you have Germany, so you're covered for Europe.
And then I have like languages, Hindi. Hindi, I started to learn Hindi when I was 13 years old. I just watched an Indian movie. And
Bollywood?
Yeah.
Do you remember what movie?
Oh, it's called Kal Ho Na Ho.
Oh, I know that one.
You know that one?
Yeah.
It's still my favorite movie. Oh, it's so nice that you know this.
Yes,
yeah.
because another one that I watched, because my heritage is Indian, right?
Cool.
From my mom's side. So, we watch not consistently, but like we watched some Bollywood movies, and I remember growing up watching it, and then all the dancing, all the the music is
I love the movies, and then I just like, hey, I actually like the language more, and then I just bought my books and I bought CDs.
So self-taught?
Yeah, I like to self-teach myself.
That's amazing.
I'm a better teacher to myself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I like to learn something really fast.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't like to wait for somebody else or
like classes,
to
like
rely on a teacher if this teacher can teach well or cannot teach well. I just I do it myself.
So you have that self-motivation. That's impressive.
Yeah. And the other language I can speak is Japanese.
Yeah.
I started to learn it when I was 15. And then I have Vietnamese. I lived in Vietnam for 6 months.
Wow.
And like in 6 months, I think I learned about like the basic conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always so impressive because like just going around, like I think, you know, how people ask us, what's your superpower if you can have one? And I used to be like, oh, flying or like super strength or invisible, we say these things. But realistically, like when I think about, if I was in this world, I would like to have the ability to basically communicate, like speak every language. Because I feel like that is so practical on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Where you go to any place and it's a real connection to the people,
True.
to the culture.
You know, every time when I go somewhere, and especially like we have like a lot of Vietnamese food stores here, and every time I go there and I see the faces light up.
Yes.
When I just start to speak Vietnamese, and you know, it's like a bridge which is formed immediately, and then you know. I just went to a Vietnamese restaurant yesterday, and really this auntie, she just sat next to me and she had the menu and she just taught me how to pronounce these the words, and then she invited me to have some watermelon, you know. So
just connected that way.
The connection you get when you really speak the language, it's not like konnichiwa or ni hao, you know. This doesn't count, but if you really can speak a little bit, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I feel like it goes a long way too, because people give you the grace when they realize, obviously, you're not from the country, but you're trying. Yeah. And I think it's impressive that you're not just the, you know, like the basic like greets, like hello, how are you, thank you, where's the bathroom, which those are important, but you know, being able to go deeper and connect with the people is an amazing skill and gift. Yeah.
This is always the goal. This is always my reason to learn
language. Yeah. That's amazing. Now, having all these languages, you know, in your brain, like, do you feel like you have a favorite language? Hindi. Yeah,
Hindi. It's my favorite language, I think.
What about it? You know what's funny? Because I'm technically the one that's connected to this Indian heritage, but I have zero. I don't think I know.
Kya tum Hindi aati?
I think I know how to say. No, I only know how to say uncle, auntie.
Uncle, auntie.
What else do they say?
Bye.
Bye. Wait, teach me some more.
Beta, beti.
Yeah, beta is like
Pitaji.
Child or something like that.
Yeah. It's child or son or daughter.
Son, yeah.
It's just like,
so
I think Hindi is a very lyrical language.
Okay.
And they have a lot of words. Like it's really good for writing poets or writing songs. You know, love has like 4 different meanings. They have like prem, mohabbat, ishq, pyar.
Okay.
It all means love.
But different types of love?
No, it's just a different word for love. Yeah.
Wow.
Hindi and Urdu together, I think that. But I think it's just a beautiful language. You know?
So cool. Now, learning these languages, I'm curious, like, how do you keep up with them? Because I've recognized for me, I only have Mandarin and English, sad to say. But I realized that I have to be in that environment in order to kind of keep up with the language. Because there's new slangs, like, you know, like nowadays with English, there's like the younger Gen Z slangs like Riz and like...
Don't be salty.
Salty. Like, but with every culture, if you can't be everywhere all at once, how do you keep up with the languages?
I mean, for me, it's always like I keep my basics alive.
Okay.
So this is what I'm actually doing on an everyday basis. For example, I'm only... this is something that's coming very natural to me, but I'm always listening to Indian music.
I see.
Or Indian and Vietnamese music.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm changing. I have a lot of French... singers I really love. I still watch Indian movies, but not because, you know, I really love the dancing. I really just like, I can like watch them without the subtitles.
Wow, that's so impressive.
So I keep my things, my languages alive.
Okay, that makes sense. So you create that environment. Yeah, to keep them alive. And I'm sure, obviously, every time I know you have an opportunity to talk to people, you do it as much as you can. I just go
right in.
Yeah.
It's not to show off my language skills. It's actually really because I just need to practice.
Yeah. Which that's actually so good, because I know that for many of our students, especially Taiwanese people who are trying to learn English, it's actually such a barrier to try to overcome the initial scare to talk to someone, to actually speak English. Because even though I know a lot of Taiwanese people, they learn and they're good, right? They know the writing, they can test well, but they can't always communicate. And I think they're just scared to pronounce, to say things wrong.
Deeply embedded in the Chinese culture, you know, afraid to make mistake, afraid to lose face. And for them, it's a loss of face if you stand in front of somebody and don't know how to communicate with this person, you know. It's a pity. It's a pity.
So that's amazing, because I feel like you just go right in. Yeah. Like, even if you make mistakes, even if you say the wrong thing, like, you just continue to communicate, and that's
otherwise, you know, I studied Japanese learning. Do you know how I learned Japanese? No. I actually I got my books and I got my CDs, and I just imitated how they spoke, but I talked to my dog.
Okay.
Like, 待ってください。これはダメですね。
Did your dog speak back to you in Japanese?
No.
Oh, not a magic dog.
But at least, I just had this kind of borderline speaking practice. Or I just went in school and I just started to talk with my peers in Japanese, and they thought it's quite annoying, but I didn't care.
That's good. I feel like you do need to have that sort of determination where you're just like, I will just try. I will just do it. And that's how you improve. And that's how you're so impressive with all these languages.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, how do you think learning Mandarin, because Mandarin is said to be one of the hardest languages to learn, in the world. How do you feel like after you learned Mandarin, let's start with how long did it take you to learn Mandarin?
6 months.
6 months?
Yep.
What that was when you came here, right? Because we talked about in the last episode, you were here when you were 16.
And I came in 2012, and this is when I started to
2012 officially.
Really, or 2013 when I came here officially, started working holiday, started to go my path I'm doing right now. So I actually, I just take a look. For me, every language is different, and every language requires a different learning way.
Yes.
And for me, for example, you have Mandarin, and I just cut it into parts. Part number one is listening and speaking. Okay. So for the first 6 months, I did not waste my time learning the Hanzi, the Chinese signs. I did not waste my time in writing every day like wo, wo, wo,
We had to do that when we were kids.
Yeah. So I didn't do this. I first used my ears and I used my mouth.
Wow, okay.
And then after 6 months, I already was ready to enroll in university.
That's so crazy.
And then I started to learn the signs while
also improving
studying in university.
Yeah.
And then back then my English wasn't as good as it is right now. So I had like this Chinese book, and it was in Chinese, and I translated it to English. It was because I learned international trade. So we had a lot of trading terms, a lot of economy terms, and I translated it to English, and it's like,
still don't understand.
Okay, and then I translated from English to German. So
wow.
So but
man, that's
once I could speak and understand it, and I saw the signs, and I heard the sounds. Oh, I recognize this one.
Yes.
Oh, I recognize this one. It was super fast learning the signs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with each language that you learn, probably you were just making new and different connections. Yeah. Because I've heard them said, like after maybe 3, 4, 5 languages that you learn, it becomes easier actually because of the maybe commonality on something.
I think it's always relative. It depends on what kind of language you're learning.
Certainly, yeah.
So because I'm from Europe, so German and English are already like related. Somewhat related. I mean, the German grammar is super different from the English one, but the German grammar is quite like similar to the French one, like in terms of difficulty.
Okay.
And then I learned French, and French is very similar to Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian. If I would like to learn these languages, super fast.
Pick it up quick, yeah.
So then I had Japanese, and because I already learned the kanji, I already recognized them in Chinese. It's not like there's 100% help, but it is just like a push in the right direction.
It's forming the connections, and it's making it easier. And
then I learned Chinese, and because of Chinese, I could learn Vietnamese very quick, because Vietnamese and Chinese have a lot of similarities.
Wow.
They use different writing systems, but it sounds
similar. Yeah. Wow, that's impressive, because I mean, I have English and Mandarin, but that's just kind of like I was born with it, spoke with my dad in Mandarin, spoke with mom in English, and then a little bit of Taiwanese to be able to communicate with the grandparent, and then a little bit of Afrikaans, because that's what I had to learn in South Africa. So it's funny because German and Afrikaans, because it's Dutch descendant, it's very similar too.
I have actually a lot of languages that I can understand, but I'm not able to speak. For example, I could read and understand Danish, and I could read and understand Dutch, and I also would be able to understand Swedish.
That's so amazing.
But I would not count them as my languages because I can't speak them.
Right, not fluent. Okay. Now, when it comes to Mandarin, I'm curious, do you feel like learning Mandarin and being able to speak Mandarin kind of give you an idea of what the Taiwanese culture is like, or how has the learning Mandarin formed your experience?
I think in Mandarin, I'm much more cautious in how I say things.
Okay.
Because the Chinese culture is not as direct and like straightforward as we are Westerners. You know, sometimes you want something, they don't say yes or no. They say maybe yes, maybe no, maybe later. 还好还好.
Especially like talking about this, like I know in Japanese, like they don't ever give sort of a direct answer. If they're like, hey, are you going to come this weekend? If they're not going to be like, no.
I mean, they're even more hardcore. The Japanese people are even more hardcore.
They're like, I will think about it. But that kind of means like maybe no, right?
Yeah.
Which, so it's so interesting because even for myself, I know like when I switch to Mandarin, I do become a little bit more passive. And I found that to be true because when I talk to my family here, then I'm always more like, and it's a good thing, I think, to have respect. But then I feel like I need to find how to kind of integrate the two, to have the firm, belief on what I'm saying and, that I have the understanding and the authority, but then like coming at it from a respectful way.
Interesting. Have you ever noticed that actually, especially when you want to express your feelings, it's much easier for me to do this in English because we have much more words.
That's so true.
And Chinese does not have a lot of words to express your feelings. I feel hurt, or I feel a little ashamed, or you make me feel uncomfortable. You know,
it's not a common way of people expressing.
It is really funny because it's really not in their culture to express themselves, to tell you how they feel. So they don't really have a lot of words for that.
Yeah, that makes sense because I think every language kind of like informs the culture. So in Mandarin, it's sort of that way where people just have to be more reserved. And I would say maybe, don't you feel like it's slowly changing? Because I think maybe with the globalization, people now, basically, we can use an example of the, let's say like memes and jokes online. Like it's all getting translated into the languages that people understand. So, like American memes, English memes are also becoming common in Taiwan.
And I think also Taiwanese people are becoming more and more aware of mental health.
Exactly.
This is in the last 10 years, I felt
becoming
this.
a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy because back in the day, like it would have been such a different thing, but I think that's the beauty of language, that it evolves with the culture and it grows. And
I think I speak 8 languages and I have 8 different personalities.
That's so true.
I'm sure very, very shy when I speak Hindi. Bahut shy.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool. You can kind of tap into whichever one you want to.
Yes, I even have the head shake.
You got the head shake down. I think, it's within all of us, right?
Very nice.
Now, okay, to cap off this conversation, do you have a good way of learning language since you've, learned so many and you've picked it up, and you mentioned using books and CDs, but what would you, like if somebody's trying to learn a new language now, what would you
I think this is a really big topic here in Taiwan because Taiwanese people really desire to learn English.
Yeah.
I think we need to first understand each other like as individuals because everybody is learning different.
Yeah, learning
And
style,
I think the worst way you can learn a language, because a language is there to be spoken. It's not there to be like preferably it's to be spoken. It's not there to be exactly. It's not there to be written down. It stays in a book, know.
Yes.
Books are there to be read to each other, and so I think go away from just taking a book in your hand and sitting somewhere. Just for me, it's just like learn something and use it. Learn and use it. Learn and use it.
Apply for sure.
Yeah.
That's good because I think a lot of people make that mistake of not applying
quality
it.
Instead of quantity. Don't learn so much and your brain can't take it.
And then you're not even using
slowly.
it.
Yeah.
So that's good because, you're a testament to being able to do all these languages and do it so well. So that's very impressive.
And really, every language requires a different way to learn.
Yeah. Right.
So it's not one way fits all.
That's true. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your insights. And can you say goodbye for us in all the languages that you know?
Oh my God.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay. Auf Wiedersehen. That's German.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Sayonara. Jane. Tambit. Hayo.
Afrikaans is tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
What other we got?
Namaste. Firme lenge. Or hasta luego, tío. Au revoir.
Wow, I'm seeing all the personalities come out
Goodbye.
as you're saying. And in Mandarin?
拜拜，
拜拜，再
见。
见。All right, we thank you so much for your time. Thank you for this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.